Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Cafe Gallery right here at Gallery Cabaret. Welcome, everybody. Hi. It is great to be here. I'm thrilled, and I've got a great turnout right now. I'm going to start with something about the past, and I'm hoping that people who are regulars from this open mic in the past, who have gone to the cafe, might hear this. People remember Baki, our lovely and illustrious host. He was recently traveling with his wife in Bosnia, and last Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday, 8 days ago, they were in a car accident. And as far as I know, Baki is still in the hospital, probably in Bosnia, but his wife, Jana, passed away.
No, really?
Yeah, I found it out from my dentist's receptionist, who's a good friend of theirs.
And I feel terrible because I was going to go the last week and say, I know Baki's not here, but I just write a note and say hi and how are you doing?
We live right down the street from the bar. We could find out.
And and a part of me is like, have a little moment of,
Wow.
and I feel I'm very, very sorry, Baki, and our hearts of all of us go out to him and his family, and that's all I know, and you guys know something and can learn more. I just learned this from my wonderful, adorable, sexy sidekick, Bob Rashkow, so if anybody can find out any more information, but, our hearts are with you, so definitely. Today, and I feel strange doing this, is 50 years since the I Had a Dream speech, and I thought, I should do something, what do I have of a, black empowering poem, and what do I have? And I have this very, very strange poem about women's issues and issues for the African American community as well, and I wanted to start with that. This is a poem called People's Lives Were at Stake. In fact, I think wherever my handy-dandy sidekick Bob was, he even saw a photo that I took at this event. So this is People's Lives Were at Stake. I don't know what John's saying. People's lives were at stake. I know everyone was talking about it after the fact, and I heard the reports in the news about the damage done. And you'd think that we were in a war zone, and all of this was done for religious purposes, and people's lives were at stake. And maybe they were, and I just don't know. I don't know. I know what it's like to have a cause, but I never tried to close people out to it. I tried to include them, to open them up to it. But I remember deciding once to walk in a women's parade called Take Back the Night. And it was so that people would know that women could feel safe while walking alone in the streets at night without worrying about being mugged or raped or killed because they were female. Well, anyway, I was walking to this parade to take photographs because I'm a photographer, and a group of women were walking in a group toward the parade, and so I walked down the street and I started walking with them, and they were all chanting and singing, and I thought, wow, this is unity, people together for a cause. And then one of the women told me while we were out walking that some of the women there didn't like me walking with them because I was white and they were African American. And I looked around and noticed that there wasn't a racial mix. And I said, well, we're all going to the same place. And she said, well, some people don't like you walking with us anyway. So I turned my head and let them walk, and I crossed the street, and I took another block, and I got there before them. And is this how we define how we should be separated, I suppose? Well, anyway, I still don't really understand it. During the parade, I heard about a trial case. Some of you may know it. I heard about a trial case where a black man was convicted of a police brutality crime. And the black community was outraged, saying that the white man was holding them down, and maybe see that you were, in a way, they were actually right, but I just didn't quite understand it. A large group of people started their own rally that night that seemed to take center stage to women's rights. I mean, they're just women. What are they going to do? Bitch a little louder or complain a little more? But then again, maybe it was just a matter of deciding who has the louder voice or who has the most recent problem to complain about. I don't know. We went out that night, and I heard the next day that in light of the trial, 23 fires were started on school property, and most of them were of books in libraries. And I thought, this isn't non-resistant violence. This is out and out violent, and what they're destroying is opportunities for learning and not ideas. Yeah, but do those books hold the what the white man wants you to learn? Is this how he alters our perceptions? I don't know, but burning libraries doesn't solve anything, and this isn't the answer. Then I heard about one of my male friends, a white man, hit by a black man in the street while they were out in the night. And the doctor said that they must have had a roll of quarters in their hand or brass knuckles because this was a clean break of their jaw. And for 6 weeks, his jaw was wired shut, and he had to throw pizza or meatloaf into the blender so he could eat something other than ice cream while he tried to recover. And I thought, is this getting anything done? Are we coming any closer to racial harmony? What are we learning from this? Thanks. Well, you know, I think it's like, what are we going to learn from, and what's it going to, and I think everybody asks, what's it going to take to learn? We should take a step, and people take baby steps, and we don't know what the hell we're supposed to do next, I guess. But I've had that for a while, and I thought I'd share it with you. And in light of that, I have to know if Scotty's around. I can't see anything to save my soul. Is Scotty here?
Oh.
What? He said he wanted to come up, and he wanted to come up first. So I'm calling you up because you came here, and I like you, Joffrey. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Joffrey Stewart. Come on up. I'll hunt him down later. Hi.
When I was in the occupation at the University of Chicago, probably against the draft, some of the kids wanted to burn down the school library. And I argued if you should burn down the things that in regards to the kind of society you want. Burn down the law school, burn down the business school. It didn't, I don't know where it got, but nothing burned. I'll begin with the one you have, Maria. The epigraph is from Sherman Skolnick, who was reported murdered by Mossad 7 years ago last May. Report from anonymous source. New York City firemen, there were bombs in the building, cyberspaceorbit.com. Crucial info evidence, explosives toppled WTC. Army brat. She learned to sing in German. Like father, like daughter, she became a Marine. She died shortly before gates opened for the Air Force taking American arms back to Tripoli. Thanks to Rothschild killing Kennedy, she made love on battlefields framed by the lie of the Gulf of Tonkin. In the midst of Cold War, she enfleshed a hot piece of the Soviet Union, taken to her grave. She took in the wrong sunshine reflected in her children. She made her Filipino mother a black, sitting up on high where they could look down on the white people. She battled against the N-word. Cabrini made her theatrical. She survived a racist push off an L platform. She mourned a cousin murdered by those who pretend the caveman of Tora Bora did their work of destroying the World Trade Center. Choosing Jews, she failed to see Palestinians as analog to black oppression. Wanting to be integrated, she was too good for the white people who felt uncomfortable around blacks. Poetry made her anti-war, or certainly helped. Her militant feminism would clash with Gloria Steinem's militarism. She was silent about the McRae who patronymicked her children. She was distressed by poets wasting talent on pantyless celebrities. Mumia Abu-Jamal outlives her on death row. She was as deserving to be Poet Laureate of Illinois as anyone who has it that you cannot name. Well, she did die when Mumia Abu-Jamal was on death row. Now they took him off to do life. He still needs freedom from the accusation for a crime he did not commit. The cops themselves killed the cop Faulkner. And this is my other one. I wrote it yesterday. The title is A Poem That Should Not Work Anytime Soon or Ever. It's taken from http://www.sena.sy/print.html?sid=385715 and new lang =ing. That's 3 December 2011. Quote, what average Syrians of all ethnic groups say is that they're being shot at by snipers. People complain that there are terrorist snipers who are shooting civilians flying terrorism simply for the purpose of destabilizing the country. And quote, InfoWars website quoted Webster Tarpley as saying to Russia Today TV. Webster Tarpley added, quote, what you are dealing with here is not a civil war, but death squads. You are dealing with terror commandos. This is typical CIA method. In this case, it's a joint production of the CIA, MI6, Mossad. It's got money coming from Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. End of epigraph. 50 years and a day before, a dreamer dreamed so much in vain on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Some same year he came out against nuclear weapons. The media double talks us, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, but this time toward hostilities with Syria, to which the CIA, Assad ally, rendered for torture in another torture turn of a consistently Zionist foreign policy as a negative of Martin Luther King, negative substituting white for black, moves Navy into position to strike, according to one projection, 50 years and a day after celebrating a dream deferred, leaving one to wonder, what is the meaning of Labor Day as labor radicals rush out into the street impotently and pointlessly to protest the use of taxes, their taxes labored to empower the president at his environmentally degrading discretion to dump gasoline on the fires.
Wow. Although there are edited changes as soon as he says, there were bombs in the building. I just kind of want to say that along with you. Just because I've heard it. There were bombs in the building. Sorry.
And that's kind of like the bombs in here, and that is why I am apparently in line with groups like the NSA, and we've got to watch you all the time, so everybody knows I am video recording the poetry open mic as well as the phenomenal feature from Bob Lawrence this evening. Oh yeah! So if for some reason you're in an open mic and you're like, no, don't put me on YouTube because I like being this extroverted here, but I don't want to be extroverted like out there on the interwebs, then let me know. But otherwise, everyone will know your name. In the meantime, and I should also thank Joffrey because he came by earlier today for a poetry saloon at noon. And it happens once a month. I have no idea what next month's was, but today was, I see you, Eric Esden, and you are on the list. I got you. You are awesome. You don't even have to worry about it. I got you. You are the man. I've got you. You are awesome. And I heart you and such. But today at Poetry Saloon at noon, they usually highlight one artist, and I just like to gloat a little bit because it was me today, and it was really kind of cool because I had no idea what she was going to ask me in interviewing or anything, and I'm like, well, the first poem I ever wrote, which I think some of you have heard, Under the Sea. I got to share stuff about that and also some interesting questions, and I read 3 brand new periodic table poems. And there were also a couple chosen readers, and one of them is our next open micer tonight because I do not see Scotty. There's no Scotty. Scotty! I don't see him anywhere, but he's coming up though when he gets back in here, I swear. But in the meantime, please give it up for the phenomenally, I'd like to hear him eat this mic so he sounds as loud as I do. Come over and give it up for Mr. Tom Roby! Gotta get that little, that's like safety man. You have to get the same thing like my shirt. Safety man.
All right, I have a few.
I have a few afflictions here. The first affliction is Bill Carpenter's complaint. See if you can guess what it is. My hand shakes. Without the meds, I got no grip at all. I can still hang on to a cup of coffee, thanks. I'll take the big chair. Don't want to break down your antiques. Some say it was that white glue. But that was years ago. It came in big blocks. They told us to hurry up, chop it up, chunk it into the solvents. That junk flurried through the air like a snowstorm. You could hardly see a hand in front of your face. It was pretty, sort of, but I felt sick at the end. We washed it all out with a case of beer. I took the next day off with a hangover. I would have gotten back to you sooner about your cabinet, except I found me a day's work. On good days, I can put in a full 8 hours. Afterwards, I'm no use for the rest of the week. Boss men want steady hands. Probably it wasn't that white glue. Guys were listening to music on their cell phones and answering the phone company. And there were car alarms going off in the background. Probably it wasn't that white glue. Guys worked it all over the country, chopped it, mixed it, pasted up fake wood panels, as easy as school kids with paper cutouts. I can make your kitchen cabinet to double as a baking table. Screw on rollers so you can shove it into that empty corner under the shelves. I'll stick on a Formica top. Don't worry about peeling. New glues fix that. Give me some time. I still have a little trouble with the smell. No, it couldn't have been that white glue. We use it all the time. Somebody would have told us, someone would have gotten real sick right away. Bill Carpenter. What is Bill Carpenter's affliction? Anybody have any ideas? Well, he gets it from the glue. Probably some neurological defect, you know, that sort of thing. Here's another affliction. I never looked at it that way. When mind's grown old or young once more, familiar things look strange and new. Which of these keys unlocks the door? What got us to the grocery store? Long list of things we have to do when mind's grown old or young once more. Love's not a list we're looking for. We built love's fortress with a view. Which of these keys unlocks the door? We could do all we missed before, like kids inventing love anew when mind's grown old or young once more. What is it we were looking for? Remember that our love is true. Which of these keys unlocks the door? Just count me out my change once more. Display my antique lock on you. When mind's grown old or young once more, which of these keys unlocks the door? Thank you. Okay, so what's the affliction there? Yeah, old age, getting old, getting tired,
Getting drunk.
getting...
Lives in the old
All right, I see I've gotten everybody a cheerful mood here. This is the less is more villanelle, the second villanelle here from the one I just read. Less is more. Mies van der Rohe's motto. And it's something we've all faced as we enter poetry contests. To keep my poem to one page max, I must resize and clip my thought, or spot more ways to dodge the axe. I could write less if I'd relax, use shorter forms that are my want to come out less than one page max. Free to submit email or fax, free from critics cutting, taunt, deceived, he thinks, to dodge the axe. But if I don't accept these clacks, I have to reckon how to vault to keep my poem to one page max by pitching points and not be lax, ever more slender, so I flaunt a winning way to dodge the axe of judges with their snide attacks. Instead they find Romont can daunt by maxing one page max. I get my plaque and dodge the axe. Thank you very much.
All right, and now please enjoy the flow of words that comes so smoothly and naturally from our next reader, who happens to be Tom's better half, Jenene Ravesloot.
I'm going to do 3 poems, and I'm going to do Lorca. I'm going to do some riffs on Lorca's work. I'm sure most of you are familiar with suicide. So we'll start with suicide. We're all familiar with suicide, are we not? Suicide. Suicide. No note. This is in 4 parts. It is almost noon, or close enough. And because he suffers from migraines, there is a wet rag pressed against his small white brow. Doves flutter on the windowsill in odd geometry. White wings sound like white-gloved fingers beating against the taut strings of an out-of-tune guitar when he lifts his eyes, when he looks out the window. Window, spire, melting clock whose stalled black hands remind him of crossed swords. This room, the one word that slips from his mouth like an embossed communion wafer or ashes before he dies on the white, white couch. Offerings, a life, a child's white hatchet, a broken mirror, imperfect music. It is impossible. He will never learn his equations. The next one is again a riff on Lorca's poem, The Gypsy Nun. Oh, pulsing saffron suns and hills of silence, here I sit, a simple nun embroidering the Eucharist cloth, while iridescent birds weave in and out of the wrought iron chandelier. How easily this glinting needle with its thread of yellow silk could put out the eye of a sunflower, or that of a galloping highwayman's horse. Ho, 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 a cool breeze lifts my gray veil, my 2 underskirts. Oranges grow sweet on the nearby sill. I think my heart could almost break while shadows play chess with the light on the latticework window. Ho, ho, ho. And just for a little change, what the heck, I'm going to do a winter gozzle. I don't know how many people have done these. They're really quite nice. There's a line that's always repeated. So it's very small, but here it is. Winter gozzle. Stale words hang in the evening air. Hours of light are rare. Thoughts drift. The river mirrors one flying crow. Things come and go. Thoughts drift. Slow black smoke rises in a clearing. I comb your lovely hair. Thoughts drift. A locust tree is stripped. Light is gone. You say, I never cared. Thoughts drift. To think you said you would never leave. Gray snow begins to fall. Thoughts drift. Thank you.
And thank you for your readings earlier today as well at Poetry Saloon at noon. It's so fun to say.
Great event.
It's a groovy event.
That was really a lovely event.
It was fun. And with that thing, there is a usual person that is featured for the hour, and then Ida Blanovich does she calls it a curated open mic. Though it's really you submit stuff and you can be one of the chosen writers to read during that hour. And in this hour, she had the writers, like Jenene and Thomas. She said, although this is going to run over the hour, if there's somebody else who would like to read, they could read. And Alicia Blinn came up and read after the hour, which was really cool. But there's a cool thing to be able to say, oh yes, I've been chosen to be one of the readers in that thing as well. I thought that was awesome, cool. And I have to say something about Scars Publications, because that's the crap I do. I happen to do, people submit chapbooks. As a rule, you should only have one a year, and I've been working, and I happen to have this one that was released this month, Uncle Dano's Death Scene, 'Tis of Thee. And so we've got a whole series of these with the dark ones from CEE. And if you want to know anything about chapbook stuff at Scars, you can always go to http://scars, SCARS.tv, and you can find information about how to submit chapbooks if you're interested. I think even my handy dandy sidekick Bob Rashkow was asking about that, but now I can't even remember because I've been talking too much. Oh, I know the next person on my list. The next guy on my list is going to have a feature here in less than a month. On my sister's birthday, actually, on September 25th. So, I'm still hunting and waiting to see if I can see Scotty coming, but it's all about you, poetry, James, Mr. Man. Give it up for poetry. Come on up for my darling. What do you need to stand for? You know everything. It just blows my mind.
How everybody doing?
Awesome.
I'll take a pose to the people that stands around the block lights and thinking about what they realize, that they pin the papers outside the neighborhood. They got the neighborhood wondering why neighborhood watches is not going on, why little kids is walking around the block holding guns inside their head. A pain drops inside his eyes. Got a young kid wondering why that the school education is knocked down our mentor, our lives, our cries that goes outside the block, never forgetting about what we go through inside our society is breaking us down by each wall is knocking us down. The condos is getting built in our neighborhood, but we ain't even realize that we ain't been through this pain and set our eyes closed so deep that we ain't realize where we came from. That's it, y'all.
Oh, wow. Woo! That's all I get. If we don't get anything else from here, you're going to break my heart. Nothing else? What? Come on. More. Usually it's 3 or 5, and I want to hear some more from you. Come on.
Okay. This woman, she wanted to be loved inside. So she tell me things that's what the next man that did, that broke his heart and made her feel different inside. So she walks around without the wandering misery inside her. She drinks her same pain away. Asks her why, the tears that she holds in deep in line. Says a thin line between love and hate, and she asks why. Why do man break me down inside? Why do it cries? Why do I have kids that realize that they crying for their daddy, but daddy wasn't there to see what's inside? The pain that she feels outside while she screams inside the bed. Shakes in the bed like an S and she asks why. Do mans breaks me down inside? Why do mans make me cry? Why do mans make me want to hate another man inside? I ask why. She cries out there with the echoes inside. She said the guys that walk around with the dreadlocks that's shaking it wasn't surprising that the education that wasn't making it. She said the kids that was walking around asking for daddy. In the midlife, so she had to walk with the same pain. So the only thing she could think about was drinking her same pain away. The Grey Goose with a little Hennessy, hoping that he could feel loose. Forget about the pain that was deep inside. She was hurting inside.
Yeah. See, this is why it's going to be awesome when you go out for a feature. This is why it's going to be awesome. Because, why do you have to worry about bringing papers along when you have to actually know everything is so awesome? No, I swear to God, if you actually want to read from a page, we can commiserate. We understand that. It's totally fine. That's awesome, and thank you very much. And I'm holding a wad of cash in a purple bag that was handed to me from the likes of the past host here. This is something that is designed to put your life savings into, because we've got a great feature from, I'm going to do one for Bob Lawrence. Oh, yeah, I know I hear And so find whatever you've got, stuff that in there, and I am going to circle this around. And just because my handy dandy sidekick's coming up next doesn't mean he's not clear from it. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Bobster himself, Mr. Bob Rashkow! Woo! Oh, come on, like you mean it. Give it up for the Bobster!
All right.
Yeah!
This is my poem that I just wrote a little while ago. It's called You're Not There.
We're there, we love you.
A game this is. What game is it? We walk around a space with an identity plane, all on our own plane. The leader, smiling, picks out one by one a passing figure in this cubicle landscape to ask their name, to ask their dream, to ask if they know why they walk the way they do. I listen as I proceed. The leader calls one more. The procession ends. He didn't ask my name. He didn't want to know anything about me, anything about life. Why? 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 He forgot I'm here? He plans to meet me alone? He couldn't find my persona? You weren't called on. You can't impress him. You need not worry, or bother, or brood. It wasn't important. It flew away. He can't see you. You're not there. Thank you. Now I'm very pleased, if you will indulge me for a couple of minutes, to have been reunited with these old poems by my peers from Old Orchard Junior High School in Skokie, Illinois. They're not copyrighted, but I don't think either of these people are here, so I'm sure they don't mind if I read their poems. From 1971,
Wow.
the first poem is probably one of the best poems that has ever appeared in an Old Orchard Junior High School Ordo yearbook by a young lady by the name of Nancy Rotfeld, who is now Nancy Karp, as far as I know. It's called So I Can See Modern Man. Please indulge me. Put me asleep in a sleep very deep. Maybe if you freeze me, I'll sleep real easy. Then wake me if you can, so I can see modern man. How has the world changed? Is it all rearranged? Is war called war? Or is it anything anymore? What's left of the grass and trees? Tell me now, tell me please. You woke me too late, at too late a date. Is war called war? It left nothing anymore. Such brilliance. Now on a slightly lighter note, Brian Andre, who was 2 years behind me in school, after studying traditional and literary ballads in his 7th grade class, wrote The Ballad of the Baseball Game. And I'm going to sing this just for fun. One bright summer day in the warm month of May, and mind you, the warm month of May, oh, some boys decided they wanted to play, and baseball was what they did play, oh. One bright summer day in the warm month of May, and mind you, the warm month of May, oh, Bob shouted to Tim with 2 strikes on him, hit a homer and we'll win the game, oh. One bright summer day in the warm month of May, and mind you, the warm month of May, oh. Tim stepped to the box, took a swing like an ox, and was safe as could be on third base, oh. One bright summer day in the warm month of May, and mind you, the warm month of May, oh. Bob's turn was at hand, he hit the ball grand, but right to the mid of the fielder, oh. One bright summer day in the warm month of May, and mind you, the warm month of May, oh. The ball it was fielded, the out it was yielded, and 'twas all over in the warm month of May, oh. Thank you. Oh, and our next reader is our wonderful Scottish balladeer, Mr. Dan Cleary. Oh, is it Irish? I'm sorry. I'm off by a few miles.
Well, if I was Scottish, I would write like Robbie Burns. Well, I have a villanelle
Yay!
called The Bee and the Butterfly. I often now look back and sigh when I think of those days that used to be a long time ago when I was a boy, and take my pen and humbly try to capture that felicity when I followed the bee and the butterfly. I seem to feel a constant high, or so it now appears to me, a long time ago when I was a boy. As on from brake to bush I'd fly with such an unself-conscious glee when I followed the bee and the butterfly. The quiet countryside heard my cry, my war whoop of exultancy, a long time ago when I was a boy. Who would have ever thought that I would one day taste mortality when I followed the bee and the butterfly a long time ago when I was a boy. This is a pastoral.
Oh, a pastoral.
Very pastoral.
It's
I've
called,
never done a pastoral. I'm jealous.
it's called in Mills Park. I much enjoy the company of trees, gracious and tall and big and wide with leaves, swaying their heads above me in the breeze. I think that I could sit here now all day and listen to them as they swing and sway, wondering what it is they have to say. Their shushing sounds so sane and civilized. If only now for once it could be prized, could be seized, I'm sure it would be something to be prized. Forever prized and treasured, kept in store, with other kinds of esoteric lore, on which the world might someday like to pour. Enormous trees, so vast, so secretive, their lore seems almost sifted from a sieve and whispered softly to us where we live, bringing us tales of summers past and gone. With this one we are now engaged upon, their great heads tossing greenly in the sun.
Nice.
And
Sure.
this is called Highland Park. Perched, as it were, upon a cloud, this precious suburb, far removed from everything that's brash and loud and sets a fever in the blood. An Eden, call it what you will, a quiet retreat, a Shangri-La, a refuge from each modern ill that would beset the world at large. How could it be so? How, indeed, when trouble visits all who live, is planted there as is a seed, or so we are led to believe. Yet here, confounding all that bosh of shared misfortune, common woe, is something rare, uplifted, posh, it might be pertinent to know. Here life is raised into an art. Here furious struggle is no more. Here everybody plays a part, at once relaxed and extempore. Here somehow beyond toil and sweat, Another notion bodies forth of sober satisfaction set in plumped up pillows of self-worth. Here elegance has found a root in gorgeous mansions, spacious land, and found a residence to boot, more than enough to beat the band. Who knows what might be fashioned here, with steady labor, quiet thought, by some philosopher or seer who happened on this pleasant spot. With Ravinia ever nigh, what dreams of unimagined bliss might be possible by and by, savoring music's fragrant kiss. Such civilized rapprochement cannot but help but soothe our fears as we sit out upon the lawn and feast and picnic with our peers.
All right. You know that's a great poet when he can write a poem about a place like Highland Park. Just another nondescript upper middle class suburb. Oh, never mind. All right, and now we're going to hear from, well, some people know her as Anita Lathrop, but we know her as AnnabelleEcho.
Annabelle! Woo! No, that was fine.
Wow, your secret identity's been revealed. What?
Boy, if you look on Facebook, you'll see a video I made recently of Alan Emerson Hicks, and and I mentioned an NSA in the video. It's on Facebook.
Awesome.
And most of my poems come with an illustration on Facebook or at Annabelle, or look up the AnnabelleEcho blogs. They have the illustrations too. Okay. Prism 10 versus FISA 32. Behind the scenes, electronic communications expose 5 suspicious empty seconds. National Rainbow clandestine headquarters process electronic surveillance requests. Sun Cryptography locate restriction number US 984XN. Base of operations circa 18 intentionally make 55 changes. 69 computing instructions expose resident number 227. Monitoring agents transmit intelligence data to signal investigations. Algorithm cipher collections analyze all encrypted leaks. You can tell I listen to the same radio as Joffrey does. Same people. Okay, the meanwhile aftermath. If deemed necessary, would you be shocked to learn? If deemed necessary, would you be surprised to learn? This intelligence is not from a shadowy whistleblower. An identified, deleted, planned to engage in assassinations. An identified, deleted, had received intelligence. This infiltration is as crazy as it sounds. Deleted mention that the document may have been from some other agency with jurisdiction. The FBI media office offered a typically elliptical response, quote, "We are unable to help fill in the blanks," unquote. But don't take my word for it.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, bring it, baby. Thank you. I don't know that Western funny.
It's always entertaining to
Oh,
hear
can I
her.
just say one
Oh, if
thing
you
about
must.
what Joffrey said?
Oh my God, sure.
I know this is strange, but when I was a little girl, you know, when the local news came on, and every time they said, oh, and at the end of the show, it was like, you know, a human, it wasn't news, it was a human interest thing. They'd say, oh, Sherman Skolnick will be on to make a commentary. And I was just a little kid, but I'd get so excited. Sherman Skolnick, yes! But that guy would never get on now. He'd never get on local now. I just wanted to say
But how often when they call, by the way, here's some local, we're gonna put them on. Exactly. I totally get what you mean. Alan, I should have my schedule.
I believe if a man back there, what is the week before September 25th on my schedule for features? Because that's the awesome thing about September. This is the 1 month that we happen to have 2 bonus weeks, which means, you know, we got 4 weeks in September. Guess what? You're going to be stuck coming out here 4 times instead of every other week. And we have bonus features, and it's going to be right up on the top page where it had Dallas Mail us. There's a loose sheet. Was it right? And he doesn't know where it is. Okay, I believe the week before the 25th, which would be the 18th, perchance. It's probably in a notebook. It's not going to be in that, John. It's probably in the notebook, which is closed up. But I believe if Eric would actually remember this, or I asked Obermaker Eric Esden, you have a feature here on the second bonus week of the month, which is September 18th. Is that correct? I got the right date. I'm just doing my best to remember. Well, you know, figure math. 25 minus 7, I can master that stuff. So, I even said earlier that poetry was here for a feature on the 25th. Well, even sooner than that, you get to hear Eric Esden here on the bonus week on September 18th. Woo-hoo! So please, I want to hear everybody. I just love hearing this man speak. So please give it up for Mr. Eric Esden. Woo! Also, if there's anybody up for the open mic that I don't know about, just come to me.
So, another butterfly. Living an ugly spot in the midst of the night, closing the door behind, street lamps passing by cars, darkness of the sky, stars like flowers above, and the moon almost in his fall. As he was standing alone in front of the door, which I thought would close for me for the rest of the night. Not knowing, I would change my mind, opening the door again. For the butterfly, it flight. The moon in full, words, conversation, smile, gravity, radiation, open mind, putting hearts to run. The time goes by, your friends aside, not affecting us, ready for butterfly flight. So, butterfly fly, with every breath of the body, which at this moment of time, I perfectly know, it's just mine. We are going further, the time doesn't count, only the moon in full. A witness of acceleration, feelings, bodies and hearts. Then like that, inevitable, spreads his arm, that point took his toll, has gotten us apart for the rest of the night. Only the lonely stars, like flowers, stayed blossoming on the sky. So, butterfly in her fluttered, when you ever see you again. Question like open road sign. Left on me, butterflies, mark. No. Another night, you said, when I was feeling so bad, by now I should know you love me, even though reading some old poem I was so intense. I sent to you in your bars, not me, the artist. I did not mean to hurt anybody, even though I hurt somebody. It was you. However, by expression on your face, I learned that you love me and he's that BS. So if you love me that much, why I have the feeling of being hurt? If by you I'm that loved, why do I feel so sad? In addition, tell me, what kind of love is that? What is your life all about? For me, the love is trembling trees, the love is vibrating hearts, the love is impressed bodies, the love is a touch. The love is a dream, the love is making love. Am I missing anything? Wait, I am missing it so much. The love is a whisper, the love is your ear, just you and only you in my dreams. Love is all being together when the moon does not want to stop, smile. When the night never ends, when the day is so cruel, because take us apart. That's my understanding of love. Why am I still alone, even though I'm being loved that much? Your soul, since the time of your birth, anxiousness was your feature, with your searching for unknown, however, the peace was your nature. Crossing the continent entirety, from the east to west, from the south to north, to find you, who have never been gone, just a piece of serenity. So many loves, wanted or not, pass by, confusion and despair. Your broken heart ended to despair. From the dawn to the twilight, through the work on other creativity, to reach tranquility, the desire of love, your need to be loved, the feet to the soul is knocking on your door. Do not hesitate, no more waste your time. Wide open the door, let me in, to accommodate your body, to lodge, to heal your soul. Thanks.
Every once in a while you hear a voice and you're like, wow, just to hear him read. And actually I do stuff for DVD releases, and I've been working on, I was originally working on having actually men, because that's all I seem to know, read poems of mine that might be live or they might be in studio, and have a couple of musicians from the Nashville area set up music for it called Other Voices, where there's just, like whom? Wayne Allen Jones or Charlie Newman read something, or people would read things, and so I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm going to take that live reading of Charlie Newman reading something about angry relationships of mine, and or whatever. And at one point I asked Esden Cologne, I'm like, you've got a great voice, would you be willing to do this? And I'm actually planning to mix a lot of his readings with music from the Haman of South Africa on a CD eventually, when I get around to it, called What She Said. And so he came to my studio, and we're cracking jokes and dying and laughing. This is the best time I've got all these recordings. And then I hear Eric Esden, and I'm like, ugh, that is just an amazing voice. And then just little old selfish me is like, would you just want to read my stuff? But I can't imagine what I'd want you to read, because I have no idea what I would read that would actually, deserve that voice half the time. Seriously, so I'm just babbling. I'm gonna shut up talking about what I want because somebody has a great voice. But, oh, hey, John, what did I have over there? Did I have a bag of something that I wanted to get? The next person that is up here, I feel really bad. He's like, yeah, send me a submission pack of stuff so that you can get published in Water of Life Press, which he does stuff with paper bags, and I've been collecting them. But a lot of them have writing on one side, and I don't know how good it'll be, but I'm still going to be collecting them one day for when I can actually have a chapbook done with my crappy, printed, I'll have Mariano's or get something that has an ad from Menards that has writing all over it. I guess that won't work, but I am working on it, I am. And he's like, I never got it. And I'm like, I said it to you a week ago. And so I thought it was the coolest thing. And now this is my introduction, so maybe I should just put a bag over my head. And please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Patrick Hurley. Woo! I need a lot of bags. Some of them are, well, they have,
I mean, they have things, Mario, but I've got a little wood ones, which will take up space, and I'm like,
The interesting thing is I can take a paper bag now and look at it and say how many pages I'll get out of it.
holy cow.
And if they have writing, that's cool too, because writing ends up on like the,
It could be the inside of the front cover.
yeah, the inside of the front covers, or, you know, sometimes it ends up being, you know, a half page or something. But it's an art in itself.
So,
And it's,
I'm starting. I'm like, no, I can't use bags that we use. And I say I was bringing bags. I'm like, I've got to get plastic ones. Well, this one.
all right. So, my brother is actually here from Phoenix to watch the graduation of his son from the naval base.
Hey!
And I don't think he's seen me read since I was in university, which is, I don't know, that was a long time ago, in a land far, far away called Tennessee. Anyway, I'm going to read a couple that might strike a memory for him. This one, he did a wonderful photograph for me of a drop of water on a cactus needle, and it was published on some blog site somewhere. So this is from Pull Tabs and Other Things to Stick Your Fingers Through, my 5th book, and Janet's favorite title.
Yay!
Happiness, water and a raindrop falling, filling my imagination with a world of memory, a universe of smiles, cast in front of unspeakable secrets, shining moon pearl eyes staring into adventures never known. Happiness, silver shining dewdrop, poised on the needle of a cactus in a dry desert at morning, just after the birds stop singing their welcome sunshine song, just before the air is hot, when thirst is all that's on your mind. And one for our mother. Memo Natwechny. I'll come home someday. This passion pulls, I am weak from sorrow. This passion steals, I am exhausted from breathing. No, mother, do not weep. I am a good boy now. I know that love you once told me about. Your face was pale, they put blood into your arm. You smiled to touch my face. I understood then that I would understand now. It's all I really understand. It's all I really know to be true. I tried to run away, but I only ran closer. Your hand was cold. No one likes sadness. That's why you smiled. They put blood into your arm. The sun was shining through your window. It made an iridescent glow around you. Many people were sad, but you smiled. Memo, nipwechny. Only joy remains after sorrow. Janet, 1 or 2? She ran away.
Start with 1.
Bob, 1 or 2?
I'm sorry, I gave you. Yeah, 2.
Okay. So this will be in my.
Your brother's here. 2.
This will be in my 9th book, The Best and Worst of Both Worlds. Better than any lie. My children are there, in the room next to me. They are everything. These words are meaningless, valueless without them. They are sleeping so beautiful in their innocence. What pain will befall them when truth exposes itself? Oh, to only know I can be there too. Just help them and give them comfort. They will need me, I believe. And I have traveled places that will allow me to help them. Places that society is not happy of today. But we were never ashamed of. Places that were real. Places they will understand, and I will gladly set them off to. Knowing truth is better than any lie. So from Screws Fall Out, my 8th book. Yeah, one that I read a lot here. Whisper Winds. Whisper winds have changed the fields, hear your name. You call out the children to play, and they play. You call out the flowers to bloom, and they rise above your call, sending explosions of color to our eyes. You rattle the winter limbs of trees so they burst forth leaves to catch your breath and shake a new sound to our ears. You inhale moisture from there, package it in giant puffs of fluff, and send it here for us to enjoy as shifting sky statuettes releasing cool showers that quench thirst and brighten our vision with promising arts of color. Whisper winds of change, tell us of your past travels and future directions. Tell us of the oceans you swam, pushing up waves that you rode crashing to shore. Tell us of mountains you scaled only to slide down the other side as a happy child playing in a park. What seeds of tomorrow did you lift in your arms as you swept the broad plains, spreading future life before you for our enjoyment, then cleaning the urban grit with gusts of promise? Did you stop to admire plastic bags lifted to the upper windows of skyscrapers? Or the little leaf tornadoes swirling a delicate dance on street corners? Whisper winds of change, bring us the hope of a new season. Cuddle our cold arms with your warm breath. Chill our cheeks with a fresh new spirit. We welcome your words and open our hands to feel your embrace. Thank you. So yes, Water of Light Press is starting to gain some more traction with folks.
Yay!
Virginia Hunt, I almost have finished her first book, and Paul Farrell, I just finished publishing his book a couple months ago. So, and I have a 9th coming out soon.
Very cool. Oh,
and Janet.
Oh yeah, and Janet.
He didn't even mention me. Oh yeah, and Janet. And that was the case. And I had said something about Scars Publications chapbooks. If anybody is interested in submitting a chapbook to Scars Publications, a chapbook would be considered. 1 per year is usually what we say, because if something is longer than 30 pages and it's accepted, it is likely that it would become a 6x9 perfect bound ISBN number book that is available for sale at places like Amazon, like that one that I showed you there, Dano's Death Scene, 'Tis of Thee, which you get a funky cover and blah, blah, blah. So we do try to limit to that, but you can always submit stuff to us. So if you go to scars.tv/chapbooks, I believe that would even just do it, or you just go to Scars.tv and click on the chapbooks link. There are instructions on how to send stuff, and that would be ultra groovy cool. And if Patrick Hurley is thinking of publishing something of mine, he could very well have something published of his if he wanted to send stuff to Scars, as well as anybody who has had features so far this year, because I'm allowing this. If anybody who is interested from past features, as well as future ones, once you've had a feature, one poem can be chosen, and it would appear in a collection book of things that were chosen, the chosen few poems of things that have been here at this poetry open mic. I've been talking way too long, so please, ladies and gentlemen, please, oh, Bill, I can't wait to hear from you. Give it up for Mr. Bill Yarrow.
Hi, I'm going to read a poem called What the Hell Am I Doing? It has an epigraph from King Lear. Can you make no use of nothing, nuncle? My daughter is a therapist. She started reading my poems. She's noticed something curious. In each one of them, the same thing happens. Nothing. In one, she tells me after a car accident, a woman just stares at her hands. In another, a man travels 3,000 miles looking for a key, and when he finds it, he refuses to use it. In another, a bald man sits in a plaid chair and watches a blank screen. There's another where a boy boards a bus and stares at the darkness out the window. A man standing on a foothill bleeds into his boots. An atheist gets stung by a bee and watches his hand swell up. A son returns home to a deranged parent. A college boy watches his grandmother die. A despairing writer sees acorns fall from a tree. A man with a black mustache loiters by shiny monkey bars. An exile who's just learned his mother died in a fire walks outside into the cold to smoke. A tourist strolls past a hotel famous because a suicide happened there. Some things, of course, do happen, she notices. Someone is slapped. Someone takes a cruise. Someone fakes incontinence. After a beautiful dream, someone wakes up crying. Someone swims in the ocean. Someone gambles at a casino. These are alternative nothing, she tells me. Is that a technical term, I ask, wondering what the criterion is to not be nothing. You want me to write about something, is that it? No, not necessarily, but I don't like to see you write about nothing. Why? Johnson said you need something to fill up the vacuity of life. And you choose nothing with which to fill life's empty bucket? Well, maybe nothing just picked me. I find you curious, Dad. That's not something either, sweetie. Thank you.
And he only has one. What is that?
So I've been saying I'm not going to be reading things from other people, and I'm not. I'm going to save it for all the bonus weeks next month for all the things in the 2013 date book or the current issue of Down in the Dirt magazine, because a certain little Miss Jenene Ravesloot bought my only copy and I haven't gotten it replaced yet. I'm not complaining, you got it. It's your book of CC&D magazine. No, I gave it to you. It's my problem I don't have one. I just stick that way. No, I'm just being a goof. No, I'm just being a goof. I wouldn't have, if I didn't want to give it to you, I wouldn't have given it to you. I'm just like being a pain in the butt. No, I'm not, no.
Well, charge rent and then split it with you.
Awesome. I sold books for $3 today, and she got a collection book that she would have paid $20 for last week, and she got it for $3 today. And she's saying, I'm going to rent you a book. What is that? Anywho, well, that's what I'm like, I'm going to be having this, feature and everything. I was going to put a bunch of books up here, $3, 2 for $5. Buy something, get them off my hands. So I did. And actually, Oeuvre and those copies went pretty quickly because they're huge collection books, and I thought I would read one that hadn't read in a very long time to close out this open mic. And thank you all, so very much. This is a long piece, but I hope you guys like it. It is called Everything Was Alive and Dying. I had a dream the other night. I walked out into a city, into a forest, and there were neatly paved bicycle paths, and trash cans every 50 feet, and trash every 10. And I walked a few feet, and a raccoon came right up to me. She had a few little baby raccoons following her. It was so cute. I wish I had my camera. And she came right up to me, and she said, "Thank you for not buying furs. I know you humans are pretty smart. You've got to be able to figure out a way to keep yourselves warm without killing me." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, you know people don't do it for warmth. They do it for fashion. They do it for power." And she said, "I know, but thank you anyway." And then I walked in a little further into that forest, and there was a little stray cat. She still had her little neon collar with a little bell. As she walked a few feet, she stretched her front paws. Oh, she looked so darling. And then she came right up to me, and she said, "Thank you." And I said, "For what?" And then she just looked at me for a moment, and her little ears were standing straight up. And she said, "In some countries, I'm going to have to say that appropriately. In some countries, I'm considered a delicacy. And I said, how do you know of these things? And she said, when somebody eats one of you, word gets around. And then she just looked at me for a moment, and then she said, and in some countries, the cow is sacred. Wouldn't they love to see how you hang them upside down and slit their steel-beating hearts so they can drain all the blood for you? She said, isn't it funny how arbitrary your decision to eat meat is? And I said, don't put me in that category. I don't eat meat. And she said, I know. And then I walked a little further, managed to get away from the picnic tables and the outhouses that line the forest edges. The roaring cars gave way to the rustling of tree branches, crackling of fallen leaves under my step. When the wind tunneled through, the wind whistled and sang as it flew past the bark and leaves. I walked. I listened to the crack of dead branches under my step, and I could almost feel a branch against my shoulder. I looked up and I could almost hear what sounded like the trees speak to me. And they said, thank you for letting the endangered animals live here amongst us. We do think they are so pretty and don't want to see them go. And thank you for recycling paper, because you've been, keeping us around for just a little while longer. We've been on this planet for so long, embedded in the earth. We do have souls, you can hear it in our songs. We cling with our roots. We don't want to let go. And I said, but I don't do much. I don't do enough. And they said, we know, but we'll take what we can get. And I woke up in a sweat. So tell me Bob Dole, so tell me Newt Gingrich, so tell me Pat Buchanan, so tell me Jesse Helms, so tell me George W. Bush, so tell me Barack Obama. If you woke up from that dream, would you be in a sweat too? Do you even know why we should save the rainforest? Oh, preserve the delicate balance. Just tear the whole forest down. What difference does it make? Just put in some orange groves where concentrate orange juice can be a little cheaper. Did you know that medical researchers have a very, very hard time trying to come up with natural or synthetic cures for diseases on their own? It first helps them out if they can find that cure for something in nature. And a tree in a rainforest with a cure might be the only one of a species, or one might be 2 miles away from it instead of right next to it. I wonder how many cures we've destroyed to plant more orange groves. Serves us right. My motives aren't selfless. I know these things are worthwhile in my life. I'd like to find a cure to these diseases before I die of them. And I'm not just a vegetarian because I think it's wrong to kill an animal unless I have to. I also know that the excess protein pulls the calcium away from my bones and gives me osteoporosis. And I know that the excess fat gives me heart attacks. And I also know that we could be feeding 10 times more people with the same resources used for meat production. I know that you're looking at me and calling me an extremist, but I'm sitting here looking around me, looking at all the destruction caused by family values and thinking that the right, moral, non-violent decisions are also those extreme ones. Everything is linked here. We destroy our animals so we can be wasteful and violent. We destroy our plants. We destroy our earth. We're even destroying our air. We wreak havoc on the soil, the atmosphere. We dump our wastes into our lakes. We pump aerosol cans and exhaust fumes. And you tell me I'm extreme. And these animals and forests keep calling out to me. The oceans, the wind. And I'm beginning to think that we just keep doing it because we don't know how to stop. And deep inside we feel the pain of all that we've killed, and we try to control it by popping a chemical-filled painkiller. We live through the guilt by taking caffeine, nicotine, morphine, and we keep ourselves thin with saccharin, and we keep ourselves sane with our alcohol poisoning, and when that's not enough, maybe a line of coke. Maybe shoot ourselves in the head in front of the mirror in the master bedroom. Or maybe just take some pills, walk into the garage, turn on the car, and just fall asleep. In the wild, you have no power over anyone else. Now that we're civilized, we create our own wild. Maybe when we have all this power, the only choice we have is to destroy ourselves. And so we do. Thank you.
That was a lot of reading I wasn't expecting to do, but I think right now you've got, if you're lucky, 5 minutes. I want you to keep Tressa extra busy with getting lots and lots of drinks before our phenomenal Bob Lawrence feature. I will see you